Hi guys, and welcome back to At Home with Lisa. I've got a really big problem. My bearded iris are rotting in the ground. I knew that there was a little bit of an issue because the rhizomes have been covered, and in Australia we can't have them covered, but every time it rains the gardening bed keeps washing down the soil onto the rhizomes. Obviously that's not good. They're getting buried, they're getting wet, they're too damp, and I need to move them today. So this here is what I'm talking about. The rhizomes, you can't even see them. See how just here with that one there, just there, you can actually see the rhizome? Well, the rest of them were sitting above the soil level. But every time it rains, this garden bed is just on a slight slope. Just span up so you can see. It's on a slight slope, so the water comes down this hill and washes any excess soil straight onto my rhizomes. So over here as well, can't see any. On the weekend I was here and I was just pulling out, see these? I was just pulling out one like that, and as I pulled it out, a whole clunk of rhizome come off and just snapped in my hand. So I need to move them out of this garden bed. So knowing that I had to move them, this happened about 2 days ago, I noticed it. So knowing that I had to move them, I have actually done some work to my rose garden since then, and I'll be transplanting all of my irises into the rose garden because I know that the area there won't end up with all the soil washing down onto the rhizomes, and I hopefully will get some beautiful flowers come springtime. This is the garden bed that I'll be transplanting them into. Yesterday I was down here and I was just tidying it up. It still doesn't look very level, but you can see I've dug big trenches, so as the water runs down the hill, it will run into the trenches. These roses here have all had a nice feed. There's another trench. I'll just hop down the bottom and show you because it shows better from this angle. As you can see, there's a slope to the garden. So I'll move the bearded irises from up the front there, and I'm going to plant them all in the midsection here of the rose garden, and I think they should be really happy there. I know that the rose garden doesn't get too wet. I have had a flooding issue. I think I resolved that. The main water area was just in this section here, but I think that I've resolved that, so hopefully they'll be safe there. So knowing that I had to move them, I thought, well, what a good time to divide them. So I'm going to divide some of them. I know I've got some large clumps in there, so I'll divide them up and try and spread out the colours throughout the garden, so I don't just have like one massive amount of purple. I'll try and spread them out a little bit. So this rhizome here was actually only planted a week ago as part of Urban Veggie Patch's Grow Along. Now I know there's little roots here and either side, and these ones, as they've only just been in the ground, see, very easy. So you can see the roots look really nice there. So when it does grow, just here, obviously that's where you, oh look, that's a new shoot. That's where your leaves are coming from, and they tend to grow across this way. They never grow that way, if that makes sense. So they grow across the rhizome. So when I plant them out, I'm going to make sure that I'm very careful of that when I'm planting them, so that obviously they're not going to end up touching any of the roses, because I don't really want them touching. But look at those roots there. That's fantastic. And as for these guys, I'm gonna have to take a pitchfork to them and try and lift them up. You can do it with a spade also. I'm going to try a pitchfork and see how I go. I have 3 or 4 big clumps, and these ones have actually been here for a year because we've only been here for a year, but they've multiplied so much, so it's a good time to divide them anyway. Alrighty, so here goes. I know I've got one just there. It doesn't show it, but this soil is so wet. So that's a nice one. And that's the guy I need above the ground. I'm doing surgery. There's the rhizome there. Oh my goodness. I'm just trying to break this thing off. You can do it, come on. To get tough with these, I think. Oh, some way to do it. So you can see one there. That one there is actually broken, so I won't stick that back into the ground. That one I will. And that one's got rhizome and roots as well, so I'm getting a few. The soil is so damp. I'm so glad I didn't leave it any longer, because I think I would have had more rotting. And lock these apart. But I'm just going to do it with my hands. So this one that I've snapped off here, this would have been the original one. It's starting to get new leaves. They do actually stop producing, so I can pull this off to the side. That's one new plant. I'll leave that one on because it's a bit smaller. Hopefully it stays on. And there we go. Look at these guys. It's amazing how they work. That's already detached. So I won't use that, but that soil, it's so wet, and we haven't had rain here in, I think, like decent rain. We haven't had decent rain in about 2 weeks. So with this one here, you can see the parent plant has stopped producing. So what I'll do is I'll actually just cut that off there, and then I've got these two. Oh my goodness, what a mess. But that's so many bearded iris that I can plant out now. So separating them, dividing them, and then planting them out again. I also have some more. So this is how they arrive. Tiny little roots and a little rhizome. And this one here is a white one called Elvis Presley. And it's beautiful. These are from Tesla. And I've got another two. Panama hat. Oh, that was a pretty one. I'll see if I can find photos. But look at that. Nice little rhizome. The roots. And the last one was Star Appeal. Oh, I like this one. It was a pale pink, this one. So, rhizome and roots. I reckon they look a little bit like a lobster. So you want your lobster back out in the sun in Australia. It can be different in different places of the world, but in Australia we need the sunlight to hit here. And those roots, once you get them all nice and hydrated, they'll get going. Okay, so as you can see, we have a lot of bearded irises now, which I'm going to plant out into the rose garden. So we'll get planting now, along with those 3 new ones that I just purchased as well. Have severely underestimated the amount of bearded irises that I would actually be able to plant out. So I'll show you what I've done. I was planting 1 row, I ended up doing 3. So this is the top bed. As you can see, I've got a front row, a middle row, and a back row. All of them are actually facing forward so that then the flowers face forward, not get stuck up in the wire at the back. And just here I have 2, can you see my 2 imaginary rose bushes? So I'm going to be continuing this garden bed along. I've got the 1, the 2 and the 3 just there, so 3 more rose bushes to go. But you can see how they're all planted in. It will look so much nicer once I actually get a hold of some mulch. It'll make it look so much better. I can't wait for that. But they're all planted facing towards the front of the garden. I cut off any spent flowers, and some of them obviously had name tags as well, from those ones that I just showed you earlier. But I cut off any spent flowers. There was some that had been flowering, some beautiful apricot ones. So they're all planted in. I've watered them all in, and I'm really happy with the way that they're going. See? Rhizomes above the ground, just like they should be. So I will continue to monitor all those bearded iris that I've transplanted. Hopefully they all transplant well. I have done it before and it's worked out well, so fingers crossed it works out well this time. I didn't expect to have quite as many as I ended up with, but I'm happy with that. The more bearded iris, the better, I say. So thank you so much for watching. If you have liked this video, please consider subscribing, and until next time, I will see you then. Thank you.